Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen issue 4 sees Timmy Olsen continue his online prank show, putting bees in Dr. Fate's helmet and trolling the Gotham mayor. He shows Lois the show and she can't believe it as he delivers a revolving door to Arkham Asylum and yells out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Jimmy says that Timmy gets more numbers than Jimmy ever could, and the meaner and dumber he gets, the more popular he gets and the more money he makes for the Daily Planet. Lois says that she knows what it's like since she experienced something similar while doing on-camera news. She lights up a cigarette but Jimmy quickly puts it out, saying she could burn down his crazy board and he won't get his deposit back if that happens. Lois points out that the crazy board is actually a sociogram and wonders how it all ties to Lex Luthor. Jimmy turns off the light, saying he can't keep them on at night since it's unsafe. He says everything is dark all the time as Lois wants him to talk to her as a friend and tell her what happened. Jimmy starts with his story about being arrested by the police and asking Mr. Lynch to be his lawyer. Lynch tells Jimmy not to say anything as the cop tells him that Jimmy is going down for 17 counts of murder 11, the law which governs multiversal murder. Jimmy gets Lynch to tap his watch, activating his signal watch as he waits for Superman to come and help him, but the Man of Steel can't since he is busy fighting villains, causing Jimmy to be taken off by the police. Lois can't understand anything about his story, trying to vape, but Jimmy smacks the pen from her hand, telling her that vaping is for teens. Lois grabs him, continuing his story while the detective meets with his shadowy contact, saying no one will buy that Jimmy Olsen is a murderer, and the longer he's held in county, the quicker someone will kill him. But the woman says there isn't a safer place than lockup for Jimmy Olsen right now. The detective opens the case the woman gives him and gas shoots out of it, killing the man as the woman says that you never know who will be listening. Jimmy continues his Timmy Olsen prank show videos as Lois says that there is a real darkness and cruelty to the pranks that is so unlike Jimmy, and it concerns her. He says it's all the crazy board's fault since the death and conspiracy is everywhere. He knows this isn't him and Gotham doesn't make any sense to him. Lois wants to understand what he's talking about, so Jimmy tries to show her that this all goes back to his ancestor Joachim Olsen, and how Luthor Alexander came to Joachim's honest town of Oberstand with money, and Olsen didn't much care for the rich, so Alexander tried to have him killed, but that didn't work out, and led to Joachim starting the gold rush, which in turn made New Overstad into Metropolis, and made the Olsens rich forever. Alexander was run out of town, but in 1910, a new money family returned, the Luthors. The Olsens and the Luthors soon start competing with their money, building all sorts of monuments to their families. But soon the Olsens start fighting to preserve the monuments for no other reason that Jimmy can discern other than his brother doesn't want Lex to get what he wants, which is to demolish the Lion of Metropolis so he can build a train, and thanks to Jimmy destroying the statue, he now can. Jimmy knows that Lex isn't just building a train, since the construction will also allow him to gain power over literally all of Metropolis's infrastructure, and all he had to do was blow up the monument, which Jimmy did for him, leading to Lex beginning to tie up all of the loose ends. Jimmy lists the loose ends like Dr. Mantle, Detective Diamond, Ed Lynch, and finally him, whom Lex had killed by an assassin, but the assassin only got his clone decoy. Jimmy is sure everything leads back to Lex, but Lois isn't convinced since she doesn't really believe in conspiracies, since there is no order and everything is inefficient chaos. Lois tells him he needs to continue his investigation and ask questions and work his way back through the conspiracy. She wonders if he has told anyone else, and Jimmy reveals that he did. Lex himself. Earlier, Lex is picked up by his chopper, and as they take off, Jimmy reveals himself to be the pilot. Lex isn't fazed, knowing his death was too good to be true, as Jimmy begins recording, asking Lex about his offshore bank accounts, but the man doesn't want to comment. Jimmy says that before he disappears, he wants Lex to know he's onto him and knows everything. Lex says that he will never stoop so low as to kill his enemies, since if they are dead, he can't see what it looks like when he beats them. Putting on his goggles, Jimmy heads for the chopper's door, knowing Lex knows how to fly the chopper. Lex calls him a lunatic since him leaving will get them both killed, but Jimmy says that he's already dead. He dives from the plane as Lex gets to the controls in time. Jimmy finishes his story to Lois, who finds that Jimmy has taken one of the Batmobile's wheels. Jimmy pretends not to see it as Lois says that he's declared war on not only Lex Luthor, but now Batman, and hopes he's not escalating things. Unfortunately, Jimmy is, as he's replaced the Bat signal with a Superman signal. Superman's Pal Jimmy Olsen issue 4 was an absolute blast of a read, and a hilarious one at that. Seriously, Matt Fraction writes a hilarious and surprisingly relevant Jimmy Olsen, and every page of this issue had some fantastic sight gag or a joke on it that landed perfectly. The overall conspiracy story is completely laid out here in this issue in all its glory, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of Jimmy's misadventures, as now he's tangling with Batman as he tries to stop Lex Luthor. I'm going to give this issue a 9.5 out of 10.